Hi, my name is John Horgan. I'm a science writer, and I also teach at Stevens Institute of Technology. And with me today is one of my favorite colleagues at Stevens, Professor Yu Tao. And I'm going to talk to her to try to tell people out there in the world, and especially students who are thinking of coming to Stevens, who we are. So, hey, you, how are you doing?
Hey, John, I'm good.
So,
Good to see you. Yeah.
yeah, so first, you're a professor of sociology.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did you get interested in sociology in the first place?
Yeah. That's a good question. I'm not, somebody who actually, got straightforward into sociology for my bachelor's degree, because I became interested in sociology and more particularly sociology of science and technology when I was actually doing my master's degree in educational media and technology. I had always been interested in teaching and learning, and using technology to enhance teaching and learning. But when I was doing my study at Boston University in educational media and technology, I found out the social aspect of technology that was fascinating, whether it's educational technology, information and communications technology, or other types of technology. So I decided to do my PhD in sociology of science and technology at Georgia Tech.
Right. So it's interesting that we're at
Mm-hmm.
a science and engineering school, a
Yeah.
school that produces a lot of students who are going to make careers out of technology, and you're a scholar
Mm-hmm.
who looks at those disciplines. You look at the fields
Mm-hmm.
of science and technology and try to
Mm-hmm.
see patterns within
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, so sociology is the systematic and scientific study of group behavior and society. So
Mhm.
we look at group behavior, group differences, etc. So when we do sociology of science or sociology of technology, we look at how groups either as knowledge producers of science, right, or students of science and technology, or as consumers of science and technology products and services, how the groups actually differ in their experiences, in their education and career outcomes, etc. So the groups could be different genders, race, ethnicities, or immigration status, or the intersection of all of these characteristics.
So that sounds like a very timely set of topics for today when we're having these big debates about uh, race and gender and things like that.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
what extent do those issues influence your teaching?
Um, so yeah, I mean, I teach a variety of sociology of classes, with some of the being really in my research areas. But I enjoy teaching all of them, and because I get to meet students from all backgrounds.
Um, what kinds of things are you doing research on these days?
Um, Yeah, so for my research, I basically address two broad categories of social issues. One is human resources in science and technology, or in STEM, like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I look at again, group behavior and group differences, in educational and career outcomes, and the groups would vary in terms of gender, race, immigration status, and also the intersection of gender, race, and or immigration status. And the second category of my research addresses online privacy and artificial intelligence. And for online privacy, we look at how online privacy literacy, or basically the knowledge and the skill of protecting one's privacy when they are doing online activities, such as doing social media, or doing online searches, etc. So how can people protect their privacy, and that kind of skills or that kind of knowledge varies based on our gender, age, and educational level, etc. And excuse me. So regarding artificial intelligence, which is a new project I'm working on, I'm collaborating with a distinguished research scientist and manager at IBM Research, Dr. Kushvarshini. And we are starting this project that examines the gender dynamics among AI researchers whose research or whose publications involve AI and fairness, which is, again, a very timely topic.
Do you see any signs that that at least within STEM fields, we're moving in the right direction when it comes to race and gender and equality?
I think that's a very good question. I think the ethical concerns or the sociological concerns are always there. It's really nothing new. We had a lot of ethical considerations before with other types of scientific research. I think it's always good to not just to keep going with how we can technically or scientifically achieve. I think we should maybe pause a little bit and reflect on what we do. And even in sociology or in social sciences, a lot of us are also reflecting on our own research. So should we bring our lived experience into our research? I think it should be the same for natural science or for technological engineering researchers, artificial intelligence researchers, etc. I think it's always helpful to at least to think about what we're doing and the impact of what we are doing on society.
Okay, I guess maybe this will be the last question. I'm curious about the degree to which you use technology in your own research. In other words, how much do you rely on computers to analyze data? How much do you rely on what would be called big data? So big data sets that you can get through, I don't know, social media or various databases. How important is that to your research and to, I don't know, sociology as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of sociologists do use, well, actually, there are two major types of research approaches that sociologists use. One is qualitative, it involves more interviews, field research, etc. But a lot of researchers would also use software, programs to analyze their data. Which are recordings and which would be transcribed, etc. I belong to the other category, which is quantitative researchers. And in fact, Stephen's social science program is in the process of transitioning into quantitative social science. So, because a lot of, all the social science faculty at Stevens do quantitative research. And so, I use I collect data on my own. I also use large scale data sets from National Science Foundation. And we use all kinds of, statistical packages, to analyze data. And I don't personally use big data or, use those fancy like 3D images, to analyze data. But some of our colleagues here at Stevens do that.
Would you say that's the trend for social science in general, that it's moving toward a more quantitative approach?
I think there's always, the value of using, take advantage of the big data and, all the data that are, readily available, because we're sharing our information all the time. And I think, there is such a trend, that's why, quantitative social science, as a program would be really helpful, for students to expand, their horizon and think about their future careers. But there's also a very, very important thing, which is that, when we analyze data, we really need to ground our analysis in a particular field, because, this way we can understand the data better, right? We can explain the data better. We can relate the data, really to what's going on in society. Because, again, going back to a question that you asked previously, are we, or are scientists and engineers doing the right thing when we, connect our data, or our research to society, right? To, social trends or social change, or, gender and racial considerations, etc. I think it's always important, not just as a sociologist or a social scientist, but also as, a researcher in general, to really connect data and our research to society, or to our social problems, or to solving a lot of the issues that are emerging in society, whether it's health issues, health disparities, or housing disparities, or STEM workforce or STEM education disparities, or digital divide, etc.
Thank you so much I feel like I really understand your work better myself. So I'm really glad, I'm glad we got to speak today.